Hello my fellow gangsters. So after I did the animation control tutorial, lots of people were asking how to make her like turn and walk around and have the camera turn and stuff. So I'm gonna pick up where I left off on that last project. But links below, there's a package that you can just import to start on this one. Mikuro Teshi asked, controlling the character view direction with the cursor, so I'll also do some of that. And Logan Lewis asked, can you make a video about how to have the object reset to its original position? So we'll do like, if she falls off a cliff and dies, then we'll like make her respawn at her original position. Alright, so I'm going to create a new project called third person character, a 3D one, and I'm going to use the cameras package and the characters package. And if you don't have those, unity.com/getunity/download/archive, they have downloads for the standard assets, so just make sure you have those. So I've got the standard assets already in here, but if you don't have it, you can go assets, import package, and cameras and characters if they're installed. And then from the link below, we can go custom package after you download that. And I have the third person character. So that way we can start right where I left off on that other tutorial. So we've got the Unity Chan in here and the old scene. So here's what we had before. She could walk, but she can't change direction or anything, and the camera's just stuck. So we'll make this way better. And I get errors from the Unity Chan scripts, so I'm actually just going to delete them because they're just outdated and I'm not going to use them. And for some people, if she's not walking around, if you go edit, project settings, input, sometimes these things are messed up. So if you just click the gear here and go reset, then it should fix that problem. And I'm going to go File, Save Scene As, and just call this level 1. I'm actually going to delete the original scene. And if you continued working from the animation control tutorial and you want to save stuff, you should probably back that up and save it in a different project, because we are going to mess with the animations a bit and it might break stuff. Like that original scene would get broken. So let's just go into the standard assets, characters, third person character, prefabs, and drag this third person character in. And just so you can see, they have this like free, already really good character that runs around, like really good. So we'll just like steal all this stuff and put it on her. And it works with an Xbox controller too, which is cool. It's like, yeah, what's up, Uni-chan? I'll walk in circles around you. Hey girl, you suck at walking. So on Unity-chan, let's just remove, like click the little gear beside each of these components and go remove component. And we don't need that script anymore, so I'm just going to actually delete that too. So she's got nothing on her and she's just at 0, 0, 0. And let's just create an empty game object to make sure it's at the same thing, 0 stuff. And we'll just call this player. I'll put Unity-chan inside of player. And then on this guy, click on the little gear thing beside animator and go copy component. And we'll just copy all this stuff over. So on the player, click the gear and go paste component as new. But where it has avatar, Ethan avatar, click the little circle thing, and let's change that to Unity-chan, Unity-chan avatar. And then let's copy his rigid body and paste as new. Copy his capsule collider and paste as new. And copy this thing, paste as new, and that actually automatically makes the other one. but the values aren't the same, so I'm going to copy this one and just paste the values just to make sure it's exactly the same. And then I'll hide this guy, try playing. So already, oh, okay, we also got to grab the camera and just drag that out to the main root area and play. So yeah, now we already have her running around and stuff, except she's got sort of like manly animation, and her hair is really stiff, and she's like clipping through parts. So we're gonna try to like merge her animations into this controller. And one thing, if these things are, let me just, if they're somehow got reset, she's gonna walk around all messed up. If she does this, it's probably the ground check distance. It's not detecting the ground, so it just needs to be a higher number. And I just have it at 0.3. I just have it exactly the same as what that guy was. Her jump kind of sucks, so I like to have her jump higher. So personally, I like her jump to be at 12, but you can put it at whatever you want. I think 12 is good though. Whoosh. Yeah. What's up, bro? I walk like a bro. I'm Uni-chan, but I walk like a bro. So let's actually delete the main camera. And let's delete the third-person controller since we don't need that guy anymore. And then in the cameras, prefab, there's a multi-purpose camera rig, so let's drag that in. And let's just tell it that its target is the player. And let's also, on the player, give it the tag player. And let's just look at this. So now you got a camera. It's following her. It's pretty far away. And it turns kind of slowly. So it has some settings, and I like follow velocity to be on, because then it turns quite a bit quicker. And so I'm going to keep that on. And if we find this thing, I like the pivot point to be about right where her head is. And then I like the just to be a little closer. See how that looks. Yeah. So you can play around with the camera settings, but I think these are pretty good. And I also like to have the camera a solid color background, and I'll just keep it black, but you can totally do whatever you want. So if we click on player and go to the animator window, so window animator, there's grounded, so double click grounded, and there's all these animations. And Unity-chan doesn't have this many animations, so we're gonna lose kind of the leaning and stuff when she turns, but I still think it's worth just swapping them to her animations so she doesn't walk like a guy, because it's kind of weird. So click on this thing, and the little circle thing, so this is humanoid idle. So weight 0, 0 was her just standing around, so we'll switch it to that. And just standing, but quarter right, we'll just use weight 0, 0 again, because she doesn't actually have animations for these. So weight 0, 0, standing around, weight 0, 0, standing around, weight 0, 0. And walk, she had a walk forward, walk F. Walk to the right, she has a walk right. Another walk right. So she doesn't have walk right sharp and walk right gently or anything, but so walk left, but this will do fine. Walk left. Run, so she has run somewhere. Run forward. Run right sharp, so run right. And run left. Run right. Somewhere. Run right. And run left again. Run left. So we switched all those to her own animations with what we have to work with. And now she's doing her idle standing, but she doesn't move. Or she kind of moves. She just turns. So she doesn't move forward. She does the animations, but she lost that momentum thing. So if you go to the humanoid run and you press play, you'll notice that the background's moving and it says average velocity, and for Z it has 5.6. And then in Unity Chan, for her run, she's just running on the spot. The background's not moving. The velocity is 0. So we have to find a way to script that in. Also, if it's not showing her right here, you can drag player onto this if it's not showing her model. So what we can do is we can go curves and let's make a new curve called motion Z and make that 5.6 and press enter, and then forward so it goes to the other endpoint, 5.6, enter. So now we have the start point and the end point are both 5.6 and it's a flat line, and click apply, and then in the animator you can add a float and give it the exact same name, motion Z. So now when you press play and you, as she blends into the animation, watch the motion Z, it goes up to 5.6. So we can use that and then encode push her forward since she's not actually moving forward. So inside of the third person character script, you can just double click it, even though it's grayed out now. They updated Unity and now this is grayed out, but it doesn't matter. You can still double click it and it still opens the script. So inside the third person character script, I'm going to go Control F, find on animator, so on animator move. So this is where it's moving her. We'll just add right here, move forward with motion Z, because we blend that number up when we blend into the animation. So we'll go vector 3 move forward equals our transform dot forward direction multiplied by our animator, so that's their animator controller, get float and get the motion Z, so that number that we have going up, and then multiply it by time dot delta time. And then we'll just copy move forward and just add a bracket here and just go plus move forward. So we're just including that forward motion into how it's making her move. So save that, and she should get pushed forward based on that number now. Yeah. So we need to add it to the walk and the turning ones too. But yeah, she's moving forward about the same speed as that other guy was running forward. So let's do the same thing for walk. So walk forward. So the humanoid walk, was about 1.55, so on her walk we'll do 1.55 on a curve and just call it the exact same thing, motion Z 1.55, press enter, go to the endpoint, 1.55, press enter, and then apply. And for walk right, same thing. Motion Z. Now let's make that one about 1. And apply. And walk left. Motion Z. 1. Enter forward. 1. Enter. Apply. And for her run left and right, motion Z, I think 3 was a good number for that. Apply, and for left, motion Z, 3, 3, apply. And now, I'm going to select the player and then move over the view window and hold shift, press F, and angle it down a bit more. See if we can get a look at her feet, because she walks around good, but there's some foot slip, probably. So, so when she's walking pretty slow, you can see quite a bit of foot slip. So what you can do on the player settings is change the anime speed multiplier to different things, and it changes it quite a bit. So you can just mess with that until you get something good that you want. And I think 1.5 is pretty good. And you can also change how fast she moves with the move speed multiplier. Whoosh! So crazy! So you can do whatever you want, but I'm just going to change animation speed multiplier to 1.5. So back in the animator, if you go back to the base layer and double click airborne, they have all this jump stuff. So what they seem to have is like a jump up position and a mid-air that it goes to. That's all controlled by code, and then a fall. So we should recreate those with her jump, because they made those out of, where is this? Humanoid jump. So they have an animation for jumping, and they've split it into different clips. So there's a fall state, and it's just 2 frames, and a jump up, kind of, they're just different poses. So jump up, and then a mid-air, and then you would go to the fall after that are just kind of taken out of this animation. So we should recreate those with her jump. So if we go into one of her jumps, she has a couple different jumps. It has this full jump animation. And what you should do is you would go to the clips here and duplicate it, and then you can edit the time so that you can get like 2 frames for each pose. But a problem I ran into was, if you look at her hair, it's really stiff. It doesn't animate with her except in the original clip. So that's just a glitch or something, because these are outdated. Unity Chan is from like Unity 4, or there's something weird with the animation that's just not working, so we don't have control over that. So instead of making new clips, and then doing each pose, which you should do because changing these clips might affect another scene if you're using those animations somewhere else. Luckily we have lots of different jump animations, so we could just edit the animation itself for each pose because there's a bunch of different jumps here. And then her hair will still work. So in jump 0, 1, I like that her arms go up like that. Rename that to jump up, and make sure you press enter and the name actually changes in the clip. And go to frames 22 and 23. So that can be like our jumping up pose. And then press apply. But if you're using these animations somewhere else, they're going to get changed. So that's why you should have a separate project if you're using them somewhere else. And then Unichan jump 00B. Let's call this mid-air. Again, make sure you press enter and the clip name actually changes. And the same frames, 22, 23, and that's a good mid-air pose. And then go apply. And then on jump 0, 0, let's call this one fall. Make sure you press enter. And frames 30 and 31. So there's a good fall pose, and she's got her hair up. And then go apply. And then if you go to the blend tree, and let's just change all the mid-air ones to mid-air, our new mid-air animation. Jump up can be jump up. I don't know why that's still called jump up, but jump up for the third one. Fall can be somewhere fall. Mid-air left can be mid-air. Jump up again, that can be jump up. Mid-air can be mid-air. I had to redo this a few times, so some of those animations might not have been the same. But there's mid-air, jump up, fall, mid-air, jump up, mid-air. And then just play this. Now her hair looks cool when she's falling, and it's her own animations. So that's cool. I want to make her jump a little bit farther though. She doesn't jump very far. So back inside the third-person character script, just find where they're doing their jump stuff. I'm just going to multiply the velocity x by 2f and the velocity z by 2f. Save that. And now she can jump quite a bit further, which I think is better. Woohoo! Oh yeah. Alright, so now let's make it so that she can die. So let's delete this plane. Before we delete it, let's just find its materials. Just so I have the materials selected. So let's delete this plane. And let's create a 3D object cube. And I'm going to put a material on it. And I'm going to put it at 0, -5, 0, and make the scale 10 by 10 by 10. So now she can fall to her death. So now she infinitely falls. So let's create another cube. And let's call this fall zone. And I'm going to make its position 0, -50, 0. And let's just look at it here. and I'm going to set the scale to about 1,000 by 20 by 1,000. So now there's this huge area for her to land on, and I will remove the remove component for the mesh renderer and the cube filter. So it's just a collider, and we'll make it a trigger. And let's go up to the tags here and add a new tag and click the little plus and call it death. So tagged as death. So if she touches this, she hits a collider that's tagged as death, and we'll kill her. So let's make a new script. In our scripts folder, let's just call it respawn, and drag that onto player once it lets us. Respawn, and let's go in there. So we want to record her start position, so we will have a private vector3 called start position and a private quaternion called start rotation, and inside the start we'll have start position equals our transform dot position, and our start rotation equals transform dot rotation. So right at the start, we're recording her current position and rotation so that we can reset to it later. So let's just get rid of the update loop because we're not going to use that. So let's go detect collision with a collider, or a trigger, trigger. So void on trigger enter collider, call it COL. So the collider that we just touched the trigger of, if collider dot tag is equal to death, then we just touched that fall zone thing. So let's go transform dot position, gets reset back to start position, and transform dot rotation, same thing. Let's save that. So we touch the collider because it has the tag death on it. Let's just see. As soon as she falls to here, bring, got reset right back to the top, to her original position. Bam! And let's make Unity Chan a prefab. So let's create a new folder called prefabs, and let's create an empty movie clip and reset it. Reset it to 000, and it's the exact same as our player. And let's just call it Unity Chan prefab, and let's drag the player inside of that and the camera, and then let's drag her into the prefabs so that we can use her later for like a different level or something. Let's drag the fall zone also into the prefabs. And for people that wanted to have a different camera that lets you look around and stuff, let's duplicate the multi-purpose camera rig and just call it like camera mouse turn, I guess. And let's hide that old rig. And on this guy, let's set the turn speed to 0. So now we have a camera that is not rotating. And if you go into the standard assets utility, there's simple mouse rotator. So on the pivot, let's put simple mouse rotator. And now when we play, we can move the mouse to kind of look around. And I like, so X is the up and down. I like that to be not very much, so like 30. And then if you make Y greater than 360, so 361, it will loop infinitely and you can keep on dragging. So let's just try that. So there's a quick, I can walk around and stuff, and you can turn the camera with the mouse cursor if you want to look around that way. Although I don't really like that, so I'm going to unhide that and I'm going to hide that and I'm going to unhide the original one and keep this as my controls. Because I like using the Xbox controller to walk around, and I just like this. And I'm going to move my camera rig to Y of 30 and Z of minus 20 because I kind of like that it will pan in at the start, and it only does it the one time at the beginning. So I kind of like that, but you can do what you want, and you can use whichever camera you want. And once you're done setting up your cameras, select Unity Chan Prefab and press Apply, just to make sure it saves it to her prefab. And another thing we can do is if you go into the base layer in her animator, we could add a, what do we have here? Unity Chan lose, drag the lose clip in here, and then right click, make transition, and click on grounded, so it'll go back to grounded when it's done. And then we could make that play whenever she falls off and it resets her. So back in the code you can go get component animator and go play lose animation on the main root layer and from the beginning. And we should also make her stop moving too, so get component rigid body and velocity equals a new vector 3 0 0 0. So that way, because she's falling, and when we reset her, she should not just like keep moving at all. So that'll reset her motion back to 0. And we should also duplicate that and go angular velocity too. So that's how she's turning, rotational stuff. So now she dies. She'll be like, "Oh, I suck! No! Oh!" So that's pretty cool. So let's make a bit of a level so that we can have checkpoints. So I'm going to duplicate this cube and set it to about 42 in the Z, and I'm going to change the material to a different material, and I'm going to duplicate it again and put its position X to about 54 and its scale X to about 20, and give that a different material too. And then I'm going to duplicate that first cube again and put it to minus 0.5 and 17 and set the scale to 3, 1, and 10. And I'm going to duplicate that and set the Z position to 29 and scale to 1. And I'm going to duplicate this second big cube and set it to 15 minus 0.5 and 42, and set it to 10, 1, and 2. And I'm going to duplicate that again, set this one to about x29 and the z to about 47. I'm going to duplicate that, set the z to about 37, and that first cube I'm just going to drag that into the prefabs folder for later. And I'm going to create a 3D object capsule and call this checkpoint. And I'm going to set it to 0, 0, 42, and scale to 5, 1, 5. So when we get to here, let's set that as a checkpoint. And so when we use it as a checkpoint, we'll just save its position as her new position. So her new starting position. So if you have up here set to local, this blue arrow is the direction that it's facing. So we want her to reset facing this way. So about 90. And we will set its capsule collider to a trigger. And let's make a new tag called checkpoint. And on the checkpoint, tag is checkpoint. And let's make another folder for materials, for our own materials, and create a material for the checkpoint and drag that onto this guy. And I like particles additive because that looks kind of cool. So I'm going to make it, I don't know, some kind of orange kind of color and more transparent, maybe almost red orange. And you can adjust how soft the particle looks, or how, yeah, whatever that is. So I like about 0.3. So now there's this thing to go to save as a checkpoint. So back in the script, for the respawn script, if we hit a collider and its name and its tag is checkpoint, then we want to reset the start position to our collider's transform position and rotation. So that should work. So now we got a bit of level here. She falls to her death. Oh no! I'm running out of lives. And carefully, boom. So we got this checkpoint. Let me kill ourselves. Boom, reset at the checkpoint. There is a weird thing that will happen though. She will kind of, if you look at her, she will kind of try to walk on top of it, I've found. Pretty hard to notice. But she sort of trips out a little bit on top of it. And that's because she's trying to walk on it. So if we go into her script, her third-person character script, there is something called check ground status. So it's detecting the ground. So it's drawing a ray straight down, and when it hits normal, it tells her to walk. So let's just say if hit info dot collider dot is trigger, let's put an exclamation mark there, so if it's not true, then do this. So what I'm saying here is don't try to walk on triggers, basically. If it's a trigger, don't try to do this walking thing. And also when we get the collider, back in the respawn here, we should just destroy it after we get it. So cul.gameObject save. Yeah! Bam. So once you get the checkpoint, it just disappears. Oh yeah. So awesome. So let's put like an end goal over here. And then we'll use that to load another level. So let's just make another material. We'll call this goal. And I'm just gonna, I guess, copy the color from our checkpoint. So it was particles additive. I want the same transparency, but I think more like a green color, maybe. And it was 0.3 for that. So I'm going to duplicate our checkpoint, call that goal, and just move it over here. And give it our goal material. So that looks pretty cool. And give it the tag of goal. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to make both the checkpoint and the goal prefabs so that we can use them later. So let's create another level. So let's go new scene and save this scene as level 2. And I'm going to delete the camera that's in here and drag our UnityChan prefab, which should be at 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And drag that cube prefab in, which should be right underneath her. Let's drag the fall zone so that she can die. And it should be in about the same spot as before. And I guess we'll duplicate this cube and just put let's drag a goal into the end here. Maybe just press play, see if it seems like it's working good. And it is, so save that scene and go back to level 1. And then let's go to File, Build Settings, and drag level 1 in and level 2 in, and have them in order. So level 1 is 0. You can just drag them if they're not in the right order. And we're going to load different scenes, so they have to be in here for us to be able to load them. So let's go into the respawn script, and at the top we'll go public static integer level number equals 0. So right now we're on level 0. Since it's a public static, that means that it will carry over into other scenes and it won't just like get reset back to 0. So if we change it to 1 and then load a different scene, it will still be 1. So let's make a script or a function for loading the next level. So void next level and we'll increase the level number plus plus, so that's like going plus 1, increases it by 1. And if level number is greater than 1, we'll set it back to 0 so that they loop. So in the build settings, that's why it starts at 0, and then it's level 2 is the 1. If it's greater than 1, we'll set it back to 0. But if you have a whole bunch of scenes, like if you have 5 scenes, then you would change it to a 4. So you have to remember however many scenes you have, that's what determines what number that you should put right here for it to loop at the end. And then we'll go application.load level, and these are crossed out because I'm on the very newest version, so there's a new way to write this, but I'll do it the old way first just in case you're on a slightly older version of Unity. So load level, and then we'll just put level number. So it's either 0 or 1 in that list. Sorry, load level. And let's go to Unity Chan's animator, and let's give her a win as well. So where the heck win? So she has a win animation clip. When you get to that final goal, we'll make it play the win. So back in respawn, so if collider, else if collider.tag is equal to goal, yeah, then let's destroy the goal object, and let's make her do a happy win animation. So win 0, 0. And then let's make this next level script load, but we'll wait 2 seconds before we call it. So we'll go invoke next level after waiting for 2 seconds. Save that. And it is giving me a warning that this is an outdated way to load levels. But in 5.2 or older, I think that's how you have to do it. So let's just see. Oh crap! No, I suck. Whoosh. It's like playing old Tomb Raider games where it's impossible to jump on things. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh yeah, I'm so awesome. Bam! I'm so happy I won. And it loads the next level. And it should loop back after this one to the first level again. Woohoo! And then, so if you're in Unity 5.3 point whatever I'm in, 5.3.2, there's a new way to write loading levels. So you don't want to use this anymore because it'll eventually just break and stop working. So you have to go up to the top and go using Unity Engine scene management, and then instead of application dot whatever, you do scene manager dot load scene, like almost exactly the same. And save. So that's the new way to load scenes. Bam! So now we got a good starting point to start making a bunch of levels with checkpoints and whoa. I'm so great, I'm Unity Chan. So it looks good. Peace out, yo.
Introducing the Fun Car Kit. It includes this music track, over 5 cars, beautiful environment assets, and extra scripts. Tune handling and camera settings without writing any code. Even import your own cars, and of course, it's mobile friendly. Start your racing game today. Click the link in the description.